This might shock you, but horror video games are extremely hard for me. Especially when you're first starting to try them out, but you're a noob, just like me. Which is why I am taking the L so you don't have to. This right here is the Noob's Guide to Dead Space. First question, why the hell are we starting here? The Dead Space franchise started in 2008 as a horror survival game developed and published by EA. Ever since then, it has become a horror movie classic spanning 3 different video games and a remake that's coming out in January of next year. You are playing as the iconic and yet slow-ass engineer known as Isaac Clarke, navigating through a marooned ship, solving puzzles, and trying to survive an onslaught of dead zombies. Technically, they're called necromorphs. Without giving too many spoilers, basically just reanimating dead bodies. You know, they work like zombies. If you look at any of the reviews that my beautiful editors are putting around the screen, it's a must play. So, if you want to prep for January by playing the original, this is what you have to keep in mind in order to survive. So, if you're prepping to get on the right foot once the remake comes out in January, that's what we're covering today. This video is going to show you the basics of how to survive your first Dead Space playthrough and actually have fun doing it. Numero uno, you got your motto, your mantra, DFP. Don't fucking panic. The Dead Space franchise is widely known for being a colossal sensory overload. Between your screams, the violins, the unholy sounds coming from the necromorphs, it's meant to throw you into a panic state.
I don't give a no, cabrón. No, muerte pa'l carajo. No, anda pa'l carajo. No.
One thing that I learned from my friend who was backseat gaming is that while your stranger danger sensors are going to be on sky high, the game gives you the tools to survive. Use them. You're going to find a ton of stacked objects, columns, pathways, and multiple levels that you can use for cover and spacing. Keep in mind, the alien zombie people are deadly, but they're not super smart, at least in the difficulty that I'm playing at, so use your brain and you'll be fine. Keep your emotions in check, use cover while you can, and keep that finger on that sprint button, and your experience is gonna be super duper. With that said, in order for you to beat the game, you're gonna have to fight. So number 2 is the combat. In one single sentence, how do you survive Dead Space? Simple. Remember the lab. That is L-A-B, but there's an H in the middle. This motto will have you mowing through enemies in no time, so let's break it down. L stands for limbs. That is your first target in any encounter. The game straight up tells you that dismembering the critters is the easiest way to stop them. Logically, that makes sense. You take away the legs, and these people are slower than Tom Brady trying to run a 40-yard dash. However, don't get cocky. This doesn't apply to every single enemy type. There are critters with 4 legs that'll come at you at blistering speed. We'll talk about those in a second. A note, Isaac is slow as fuck, so making sure that your opponents can't catch up to you is a key to success. A stands for arms. This one is pretty much self-explanatory. Most of the things coming after you are going to attack with their arms first, and you are not going to be able to parry all of them because this isn't fucking Elden Ring. So, if you took out their legs and they're still kicking, no pun intended, I swear, then making sure you take out their arms is the best way to go. Usually, you don't spell lab with an H in the middle, but this one is the most important. H stands for the head, obviously. If you're a top-tier sniper in any FPS, this is going to be your go-to. I wouldn't recommend it as the first option, but it's still there. Divorcing your opponent's heads from their bodies is a surefire way to slow them down, or at least make them rethink their life decisions. Remember the 4-legged creatures that we were talking about, those Usain Bolt-leveled speed demons? They may have the speed advantage through their zoomies, but their heads are really big. Take that shit off first, and results are sure to follow.
Take it out. Take it out. Okay, he's gone. No, actually, he's not. Okay. Okay, now he is.
Are you still with me? Good, because B is absolutely your last line of defense. B stands for the body. These things have been rotting in space for God knows how long. You don't want to give them the advantage. This is your last resort, but it works. Why do I say that? Number 1, they're spongy, so they can take 5 to 8 shots from the plasma cutter rifle in order to actually put them down. Aiming at other places actually gives you better results, but if you hit the body, it'll just make them matter at the beginning. And even worse, at number 2 is the swarm. I didn't major in biology, don't ask me how this works, but apparently if you hit these opponents in the belly for the last shot, they will play the math game and multiply like bunnies. Their bodies will explode into tons of little facehugger-like devil bugs that will come to you and turn you into sashimi. Basically, if you hit the body, get ready to face an alien xenomorph-style hell. Don't say I didn't warn you, the priority is L, A, H, and then B. There will come a time where your weapons might fail, you might run out of ammo, and then you will have one of 2 options. These little bitches love invading your personal space, so number 1 is hitting them with a slow-ass pistol whip that will be sure to stop them in their tracks. Sadly, it doesn't do that much damage though, so if you want to go with my favorite at number 2, we got the Curb Stomp. In the Dead Space universe, there is no such thing as playing fair, so remember, when in doubt, stomp them out. Your kicks are going to obliterate these assholes into the quantum realm. They're powerful stunts for a quick getaway, and unfortunately, it's the only way to guarantee the elimination on these poor unfortunate souls without wasting ammo. If the thing you're shooting stops moving and it didn't drop any loot, any ammo, or any little items, you gotta stomp them out. 90% of the time, it's still alive and kicking, so you might as well embrace your inner Hulk Hogan, take out that leg kick, and send him to the Shadow Realm.
Stompy stomp, stompy stomp, okay? I have to stamp on everything, bro.
Finally, on the combat side, I can't stress this enough, use every asset at your disposal. The stasis mechanic allows you to slow down time. This usually applies for puzzle-solving scenarios, but you can also use it in combat. It is clutch, trust me. Small side note, it applies to multiple enemies, so as long as you gather them all up, you can use the stasis and boom, they're stopped. Keep an eye out for the wheel gauge on your rig's back. You can refill it with stasis packs or at the hubs near the save stations, and that will keep you safe in a pinch. Also, once you get the hang of it, you can start playing with your food and use stasis to let go of these enemies like it's the 4th of July. You're welcome. Kinesis, on the other hand, is a puzzle-solving tool as well that you can use for your advantage really early on. It allows you to move structures but also pick up objects. So if you see an explosive canister in the floor marked by the huge red color or an unsuspecting enemy, maybe if it's even on stasis, feel free to chuck it around at the other critters. It's fun, but also a strategic way to slow down the enemies as they make their approach towards you. The rig is there to help you, even though it's confusing at first, so those are the main tips that I have when it comes to combat. With that said, where combat is concerned, you can't go wrong with a little bit of firepower. So numero 3, let's look at the weapons and rank them in terms of which ones are the most effective for you. The first weapon you receive in the game is actually the most versatile, and it's called the Plasma Cutter. You get this bad boy nearly at the beginning of the game, and it has 2 fire modes that allow you to make precise cuts on your enemy. Every single ammo cartridge has 3 projectiles with each shot. So it means that with every shot, you're going to be delivering a semi-wide range attack. It's going to be precise, but remember, use it wisely. Don't be a dumbass like me. You have a limited amount of ammo shells at the beginning. You have to get them as you progress and buy them at a certain point to keep it going. The benefit of keeping this weapon in your arsenal even to the late game is the fact that the ammo is pretty much ubiquitous. You can replenish your ammo for this weapon pretty quickly without having to buy it. However, the reload time leaves a little bit to be desired, at least in the beginning. The pulse rifle, papa, is the pièce de résistance, a fully automatic rifle that will take the wrath of God and thrust it upon the zombies. The only issue, its ammo can run out pretty quickly. So burst firing is the only mechanic that actually makes sense with this one. Where the real fun begins,
this is where the fun begins,
is when you have the secondary fire mode, because it is crowd control heaven. You open up the magazine and shower energy rounds in every direction. It is a beautiful, slightly wasteful sight to behold. Ammo isn't as spread out, but you are going to be getting a lot of it by exploring the little lockers and chests across your playthrough. Keeping a solid reservoir stack in your inventory is going to be clutch though. Especially when you have multiple enemies trying to blitz you at the same time, spraying and praying is gonna be a good way to survive. This weapon, however, is a bit ass. It's fun, but I don't like it. You unlock access to the Ripper Chainsaw pretty early on, but I never understood the logic behind it. If you're a Gears of War vet, then yes, it makes sense. It is fun to divorce aliens of their body parts, but you have to get up close to them. If you didn't remember, Isaac is slow as fuck, so it's an immediate no for me. Escaping in this game is hard. Why would I want to work harder? Avoid the shit like the plague. My friends, fire is good. Great success. The flamethrower is the damage hog, the tool that will scratch your monkey brain's itch for destruction and by extension, save your butt in a pinch. Ammo is again hard to find. However, boss fights are going to be a piece of cake when you equip this and burn everything to the ground. Embrace your inner Game of Thrones dragon and get ready to Dracarys your way to victory. Last but certainly not least, we have the railgun. The slow rate of fire is balanced by the insane amount of damage you're gonna be outputting. 3 to 5 hits with this shit and most of the mini bosses in the game are going to be sleeping with the fishes. Ammo is scarce, however. Don't be a trigger happy moron like I am. Buy some at the store and you'll be set. So, what are the best weapons for a noob to use in Dead Space? At number 5, you got the saw. I get it. You're built different different. You want to go in Rambo style, go out in a blaze of glory. This doesn't make sense to me. You're getting way too close to the opponent. Let me know how long it takes you to beat this game. If close quarters isn't the plan for you, then number 4, the flamethrower it is. Ammo is a little bit hard to come by, but nothing is better than feeling like Elmo in that fire meme and destroy everything by burning it to the ground. You are indeed the Lord of Fire, so Dracarys away, my young Padawan. On a serious note, at number 3, the railgun is really good. It can do splash damage on multiple bogeys, and most importantly, it's fun to use. Numero 2, as soon as you can upgrade this weapon, however, the plasma cutter is the most versatile weapon in the game. Multiple fire modes with precise angles in which you can use your sushi demon moves on these aliens. Adding something to the list, the ammo is everywhere, so as soon as you can upgrade the carrying capacity and the reload speed, you are set to go. At numero 1, listen, I've played enough Call of Duty and FPS games to know that spray and pray is the way to play. Crowd control heaven is right at the tip of your fingertips with the pulse rifle. Ammo drops are okay, not ideal, but if you manage to keep a little solid stack of it in your inventory and buy it at the store when you get the chance, this is the most fun that you're gonna have playing Dead Space. Just remember, keep the lab in mind and you're gonna be set to go. Finally, the most important tip at number 4 is manage your inventory. Even if you are a horror video game veteran, you know that managing the tools and resources and ammo at your disposal in your inventory slots is the key to actually surviving. If I had to make a slight comparison in terms of mechanics, this one is pretty similar to Resident Evil, The Last of Us, and even Breath of the Wild. At the beginning of the game, you're not going to be able to carry much of anything, including your ammunition, stasis, cryo packs, air, and your tools. This is where the upgrades are going to come in handy. I'm breaking it down in terms of priority right now. Numero 1, you upgrade your suit. Every so often, you're going to be finding schematics across the world in order to make upgrades to your rig, aka your suit. You can then take your rig up to level 2 and level 3, do that shit as fast as humanly possible. That will increase your carrying capacity, which means that you're gonna have more space for ammo, med packs, and everything else at your disposal. What does that equal? Peace of mind. Number 2, cycle through your consumables. Yes, having an additional stim pack would help in certain situations, but the game does a great job at giving you additional tools throughout the world. Even if you don't have super low health, consuming one of those stim packs early if you have a medium-sized or a heavy-sized med pack right in front of you makes the most sense. Why? Because it'll help maximize your healing over time. This applies to everything, including your stasis packs as well as your air canisters. If you've ever heard the phrase, use it or lose it, that's exactly the motto that you're gonna have to put in with this. Y numero 3, invest in your nodes. You should be exploring the world as much as possible. Every single crevice or room has the opportunity to give you a node. Those are the items that you use to upgrade your guns and your rig. This is how you get better ammo capacity, reload speed, and you guessed it, it's expensive. You can find a small amount of nodes by exploring, but the easiest way to do so is just spend the extra cash to buy them at the store stations. As you may have guessed, they are extremely expensive at over 10,000 credits a pop. Selling some of the ammo you might not need, as well as the gold and ruby capacitors that you'll be finding flying around, will ultimately beef you up and make you the strongest explorer the world has ever seen. Woo! That was a lot, but congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now, if you follow these steps in order, you will become the Duke Nukem or the fucking Doom guy of the Dead Space universe. With that said, that's it from me. Adios, combo. We'll see you on the next one.